Live from Fargo and serving you on TV, online, and on the go. This is Valley News Live at 5.
Breaking news for you tonight. A Fargo teacher is recovering after being injured by a student in what school leaders are calling a behavioral outburst. Fargo Public Schools released a statement saying a student at Ed Clapp Elementary injured a teacher while having a behavioral outburst. The teacher did receive medical attention. The student involved will face disciplinary action, and all students were safe during that time, and the day continued as normal.
Don't jump in front of my car, I guess. Just don't try causing accidents. It's just common sense.
If you have school-age kids, this story's for you. You'll likely want to talk to them about what's going on in Grand Forks and how wrong it is. We're told there are some kids that, for some reason, are jumping onto roads in front of oncoming traffic on purpose. Last night on social media, someone posted after seeing an incident. As Valley News Team's Callie Hubbard tells us, it's freaking people out.
There's a lot that you have to think about before you head on onto the roads. You have lights, traffic, other pedestrians, but here's one you probably didn't see coming. Teenagers fooling around in oncoming traffic. This Grand Forks resident says 3 boys were walking on North Washington. They walked in front of his vehicle and jumped back. A few moments later, they were spotted again not far away doing the same thing.
I just think it's crazy. I don't know why people would be, jumping in front of traffic and, trying to cause an accident or something.
Police say they're continuing to search for the boys, and Monday night wasn't the first time. Another man says the same thing happened to him about a week ago. This time he says a kid jumped in front of his car and just stood there.
Stop running in traffic, it's you're gonna get someone in trouble or hurt yourself or both.
I guess, does this scare you now driving at night?
Yeah. Actually, I really don't want to end up with like a manslaughter charge or end up hurting somebody because I ran them over in the middle of the night.
And what might be just a game to the teenagers is actually a danger to them and the unsuspecting drivers.
Just gonna drive a little bit slower, I guess, and stop at all the corners, make sure I'm not gonna hit anybody.
In Grand Forks, Callie Hubbard, Valley News Live.
If you see anyone jumping out onto the roads, you should contact Grand Forks Police. These chilly temps we've been seeing are about to take another dip. And just in time to tell us about some possible frost, Hutch is back and has your No Wait weather. Hutch?
Tell you what, it's gray, it's cool, and as we look across our skies to the west, it doesn't look like there's many breaks coming our way. In fact, take a look at these peak temperatures today where you see the blues. Temperatures peaked in the 30s. Look at Baker, Montana with a high of 36. Here in the valley, a lot of mid-40s, including Fargo and Grand Forks, lower 40s in Thief River Falls today. Now, the radar's fairly quiet in our neck of the woods, but out to the west, we have expanding areas of rain in western North Dakota. And with temperatures not far from the 30s, that means snow, 1 to 3 inches. Winter weather advisory, southwest North Dakota. For us, I'm not expecting 1 to 3 inches of snow. We do have temperatures through the evening that will slip down into the low 40s. Grand Forks, you could see upper 30s by bedtime. Now I'll talk about where this snow is heading, Andrea. Some may like it, others may not. Details in your hour-by-hour forecast in a few moments.
All right, thanks, Hutch. An armed robbery caught on camera in the Northern Valley. Take a look. You'll see the 2 men wearing all black charge in the front door and run toward the clerk with a gun in hand. It happened this morning around 1:30 at the Loaf and Jug on University Avenue, close to UND. Both suspects were wearing dark hooded sweatshirts and black pants. One had a Molt Gear logo on the back of his shirt. They both had white masks covering the lower half of their faces. If you have any information on this case, you're urged to call police. 2 minors are now in jail after stealing an ambulance and taking it for a joyride that turned into a police chase in Beltrami County. It happened this past Sunday at the Red Lake Hospital. Authorities say 2 juveniles stole the ambulance and led police on a chase. Eventually, police deflated the tires and were able to stop it. The Sheriff's Department is not releasing any more information about the 2 who stole it. A Fargo woman reached out to our Whistleblower Hotline because she says her apartment is not safe to live in. She says ever since a storm ripped part of the roof off last month, she's had water problems galore, but says the apartment complex isn't doing much to help. Valley News Team's crime and safety reporter, Bailey Hurley, talked with a woman today who says she is living her worst nightmare.
I don't feel safe where I live anymore.
It started with a windstorm, ripping the roof off right above Candy Holcomb's apartment.
Every time it's rained since then, it's leaked. I had some leaks by an outlet. Now I have a water stain in a closet that's even with my fuse box.
And 5-gallon buckets now act as decor in her home as she places them around her unit, catching water as it drips down her bedroom door frames.
To me, it's an uninhabitable apartment. Although I can still go about and do all my things, the fact that my fuse box could short out, could start a fire, that's just not right.
But Holcomb says management only gave her 2 buckets, so sometimes puddles like this can be found.
When it rains, to me, somebody should be coming in and knocking on my door and saying, hey, is anything going on?
She says at one point, water was coming through her light fixtures and says when she called maintenance, they didn't offer much help.
He pulled the dome of the light off and it was filled with water. He flipped the fuse, took the light bulbs out, and that was it.
Holcomb says without being warned otherwise, she eventually had to turn the fuse box back on in order to see, but says she's scared every day what could happen.
I sit and stare up at my ceiling, and I can hear my pulse in my ears because I'm so uptight about it. And that's not living.
Holcomb says she's frustrated by the lack of communication by management, saying she feels like they're not taking her safety concerns seriously.
And it's like, okay, what if something starts on fire? What if the ceiling collapses on her?
So she took it to the city and says tomorrow a Fargo inspector will check it all out, adding she hopes this is the final straw to a safer and drier home. In Fargo, Bailey Hurley, Valley News Live.
We talked with Wynwood Estates this afternoon, who say they did offer Holcomb a different apartment and hotel rooms to live in, but that she declined. And they also say starting tomorrow, a crew will be out on the roof starting construction. If you need help with an issue in your community, call us. Our whistleblower hotline is 237-6576. You can leave your tip, and then a member of our investigative team will get on the case and go to work to expose the truth. The United States makes a promise to all those who serve, never forgotten. As part of this promise, the military has an ongoing project to identify all unknown soldiers so that they can be buried with their name. When the USS Arizona was bombed on December 7th, 1941, it left many sailors unidentifiable. Using DNA technology, soldiers from every war are getting a chance to be returned home. Such is the case for Radio Man Second Class Floyd Arthur Wells, buried this afternoon at the North Dakota Veterans Cemetery.
We have a sacred obligation and a moral imperative to provide accounting of all unknown service members from World War II to present day, and to inform the families of that accounting.
Colonel Tank says the Defense POW MIA accounting agency works to identify at least 200 unknown soldiers every year. Starting on October 1st of 2020, you'll need a real ID to fly in the U.S. That means you'll need a driver's license that is real ID compliant or a passport in order to board domestic flights or enter secure federal facilities. Today, TSA and aviation industry officials held a briefing to warn travelers of the upcoming deadline.
1 year from today, TSA is prohibited from accepting a non-real ID compliant driver's license or other non-compliant state-issued ID from a traveler seeking to fly on a commercial aircraft.
As of today, 47 states and Washington, D.C. are issuing real IDs. The only ones that haven't, Oklahoma, Oregon, and New Jersey. Today, a jury in Dallas found a former police officer guilty of murder for the shooting death of her neighbor.
We, the jury, unanimously find the defendant, Amber Geiger, guilty of murder as charged in the indictment. No outbursts.
The jury of 8 women and 4 men reached a unanimous decision. Geiger shot and killed 26-year-old Botham Jean in his apartment last September. Geiger says she thought she was in her apartment and that she thought Jean shot him in self-defense.
To the Dallas 9, to all of the people who are here, I want to say thank you.
Yes.
Because of your sacrifice, this family is able to see some form of justice in Dallas, Texas, where many people at large in the community felt like it was hopeless.
The prosecution argued that Geiger was distracted by salacious text messages she had been exchanging with her partner, who is married and with whom she had an affair. For the first time in 30 years, employees in Fargo's industrial park will now be able to use public transportation. Those employees can open the app TapRide and type in their pickup location, and then a bus will pick them up and bring them to the nearest MatBus hub. TapRide is an app that is similar to Uber. Before TapRide, the closest bus stop was a 30-minute walk. After hearing stories from employees who didn't have reliable transportation, United Way and MatBus knew this app was needed.
A gentleman that is actually employed up at Cardinal IG uses the TapRide service. So this individual actually suffered from seizures growing up, and because of those seizures doesn't have depth perception, so he's not able to drive. And now because of this service, he doesn't have to rely on his family members or his friends. He has the reliable public transportation.
As of now, the app is only for the industrial park area. It costs roughly $1.50 for a day pass or $40 for an entire month. The NDSU Athletic Department announced today it will offer alcohol in the Shield Center this winter for Bison basketball games and wrestling matches. Guests who want to purchase alcohol must be 21 years of age and show a valid ID in order to get a wristband. They'll be handed out in the Radio FM Media Club suite. A valid wristband is required at the time you buy the alcohol, and you'll be able to buy 2 drinks at a time. Sales begin when the doors open, 1 hour prior to game time. For more information on this story, you can go to valleynewslive.com and click on this story.